Hello, Shalom. Welcome to day 47 of Daily Bread. We'll be in Exodus 8, 1 Samuel 8, Psalms 54, Proverbs 16, Mark 16. That's also the last chapter of Mark. So we'll be in the Scriptures 2009 version. Let's see. Exodus chapter 8 on page 64. Yah, using Aaron and Moshe, turned the river and all water sources into blood, fish dying, and it hardens Pharaoh's heart. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, "Go to Pharaoh and say to him, 'Thus said Yahweh, let my people go, so that they serve me. But if you refuse to let them go, see, I am smiting all your border with frogs, and the river shall swarm with frogs, which shall go up and shall come into your house, and into your bedroom, and into your bed, and into the houses of your servants, and on your people, and into the ovens, and into the kneading bowls. And the frogs shall come up upon you, and your people, and all your servants.' And Yahweh said to Moshe, 'Say to Aaron, stretch out your hand with your rod over the streams, over the rivers, over the ponds, and cause frogs to come up on the land of Mizraim.' So Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Mizraim, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Mizraim. And the magicians did so with their magic and brought up frogs on the land of Mizraim. Pharaoh then called for Moshe and Aaron and said, 'Pray to Yahweh to take away the frogs from me and from my people, and I shall let the people go to slaughter to Yahweh.'" Small trap. And Moshe said to Pharaoh, "Explain yourself to me. When I am to pray for you and your servants and for your people, to destroy the frogs from you and your houses, and remain only in the river." So he said, "Tomorrow." And he said, "Let it be according to your word, so that you know that there is no one like Yahweh, our Elohim. And the frogs shall turn aside from you and your houses, and from your servants, and from your people, and they shall remain in the river only." And Moshe and Aaron went out from Pharaoh, and Moshe cried out to Yahweh concerning the frogs which he had brought against Pharaoh. And Yahweh did according to the word of Moshe, and the frogs died out of the houses, out of the courtyards, and out of the fields, and they gathered them together in the heaps, and the land stank. And when Pharaoh saw that there was relief, he hardened his heart, and did not listen to them, as Yahweh had said. And Yahweh said to Moshe, "Say to Aaron, stretch out your rod, and strike the dust of the land, so that it becomes gnats, and all the land of Mizraim." And they did so. And Aaron stretched out his hand with his rod, struck the dust of the earth, and it became gnats on the man and beast. All the dust of the land became gnats in all the land of Mizraim. And the magicians did similarly with their magic to bring forth gnats, but they were unable. Now, why would they want to bring out gnats? I would think you would want to stop it, but anyway. And there were gnats on man and beast. The magician said to Pharaoh, "This is the finger of Elohim." But the heart of Pharaoh was strengthened, and he did not listen to them, and as Yahweh had said. And Yahweh said to Moshe, "Rise early in the morning, stand before Pharaoh as he comes out of the water, and say to him, 'Thus said Yahweh, let my people go so they serve me. Or else, if you do not let my people go, see, I am sending swarms of flies on you and your servants and all your people, and into your houses, and the houses of Mizraim shall be filled with swarms of flies, and also the ground on which they stand. And in that day I shall separate the land of Goshen, in which my people dwell, that no swarm of flies shall be there, so that you know that I am Yahweh in the midst of the land. And I shall put a ransom between my people and your people. Tomorrow this shall be a sign." And Yahweh did so, And thick swarms of flies came into the house of Pharaoh, his servants' houses, and into the land of Mizraim, and the land was ruined because of the swarm of flies. Pharaoh then called for Moshe and Aaron and said, "Go slaughter your Elohim in the land." And Moshe said, "It is not right to do so, for we would be slaughtering the abomination of the Mizraites to Yahweh, our Elohim. See, if we slaughtered the abomination of the Mizraites before their eyes, would they not stone us? Let us go 3 days' journey into the wilderness. Then we shall slaughter to Yahweh, our Elohim, as he commands us." And Pharaoh said, "I am letting you go. Then you shall slaughter to Yahweh, your Elohim, in the wilderness. Only do not go very far away. Pray for me." And Moshe said, "See, when I leave, I shall pray to Yahweh, and tomorrow the swarms of flies shall depart from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people. But do not let Pharaoh again deceive, not to let the people go to slaughter to Yahweh." And Moshe went out from Pharaoh and prayed to Yahweh. And Yahweh did according to the word of Moshe, and removed the swarms of flies from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people. Not one remained. But Pharaoh hardened his heart at this time too, and did not let the people go. Guy doesn't want to listen. All right. We're on to 1 Samuel chapter 8 on page 286. And it came to be when Samuel was old that he made his sons rulers over Israel. And the name of his firstborn was Joel, and the name of his second was Abiah, rulers of Beersheba. But his sons did not walk in his ways, and turned aside from after their own gain, and took bribes, and twisted right rulings. And all the rulers of Israel gathered together and came to Samuel at Ramah, and said to him, "Look, you are old, and your sons do not walk in your ways. Now appoint for us a sovereign to rule like all the nations." But the word was evil in the eyes of Samuel when they said, "Give us a sovereign to rule us." So Samuel prayed to Yahweh. And Yahweh said to Samuel, "Listen to the voice of the people in all that they say to you. For they have not rejected you, but they have rejected me from reigning over them, according to the works which they have done since the day I brought them up out of Mizraim, even to this day, forsaking me and serving other mighty ones, so they are doing to you. And now listen to their voice, but you shall certainly warn them, and shall make known to them the ruling of the sovereign who does reign over them." And Samuel spoke all the words of Yahweh to the people who asked him for a sovereign, and said, "This is the ruling of the sovereign who does reign over you. He shall take your sons and appoint them for his own chariots, and to be his horsemen, and they shall run before his chariots, and appoint commanders over his thousands and commanders over his 50s, or to plow his ground and reap his harvest, or to make his weapons and equipment for his chariots. And your daughters he is going to take to be performers and cooks and bakers, and the best of your fields and your vineyards and your olive trees he is going to take and give them to his servants. And a tenth of your grain and your vintage he is going to take and give it to his officers and servants. And your male servants and your female servants and your best young men and your donkeys he is going to take and use them for his own work. A tenth of your sheep he is going to take, and you are to be his servants. And you shall cry out in that day, because your sovereign whom you have chosen for yourselves, but Yahweh is not going to answer in that day. However, the people refused to listen to the voice of Samuel and said, "No, but let a sovereign be over us. Then we shall be, we also, like all the nations." and our sovereign shall rule us and go out before us and fight our battles. And Samuel heard all the words of the people, and he repeated them in hearing of Yahweh. And Yahweh said to Samuel, listen to the voice, make them a sovereign. And Samuel said to the children of Israel, each of you go to a city. The end of chapter 9. On to Psalms 54 on page 676. O Elohim, save me by your name, and rightly rule me by your might. Hear my prayer, O Elohim. Give ear to the words of my mouth, for strangers have risen up against me, and cruel men have sought after my life. They have not set Elohim before them, Salah. See, Elohim is my helper. Yahweh is with those who sustain my life. He repays evil to my enemies. Cut them off in your truth. Voluntarily I slaughter to you. I praise your name, O Yahweh, for it is good. For he has delivered me out of all distresses, and my eyes has looked upon my enemies. Proverbs 16. To man belongs the preparations of the heart, but Yahweh is the answer of the tongue. All the ways of men are clean in his own eyes, but Yahweh weighs the spirits. Commit your works to Yahweh, and your plans shall be established. Yahweh has made all for his purpose, and also the wrong for the day of evil. Everyone proud in heart is an abomination to Yahweh. Hand to hand he goes not unpunished. By loving commitment and truth, crookedness is pardoned, and in the fear of Yahweh one turns away from evil. When a man's ways please Yahweh, he makes even his enemies be at peace with him. Better is a little with righteousness than a large income with outright ruling. A man's heart plans his ways, but Yahweh establishes his steps. An oath is on the lips of the sovereign, and right ruling his mouth transpasses not. A right scale and balances are of Yahweh. All the weights in the bag are his work. It is abomination for sovereigns to commit wrongness. For throne is established by righteousness. Righteous lips are the delight of sovereigns, and they speak love and they love him who speaks what is straight. A sovereign's wrath is a messenger of death, but a wise man appeases it. In the light of a sovereign's face is life, and his delight is like a cloud on the latter rain. How much better is it to get wisdom than gold, and to get understanding is preferable to silver. The highway of the straight is to turn away from evil. He who guards his life watches over his way. Before destruction comes pride, and before a fall of haughty spirit. Better to be low in spirit with the poor than to divide the spoil with the proud. He who acts wisely concerning the word finds good. And blessed is he who trusts in Yahweh. The wise-hearted is called discerning, and sweetness of lips increases learning. Understanding is a fountain of life to him who has it, but the disciplining of fools is folly. The heart of the wise gives discretion to his mouth, and he increases learning to his lips. Pleasant words are like a honeycomb, sweet to the being and healing to the bones. There is a way that seems right to man, but in the end it's the way of death. He who labors for himself, for his mouth drives him on. A man of Baalia plots evil, and on his lips is like a burning of fire. A perverse man sends forth strife, and a whisperer separates intimate friends. A ruthless man entices his neighbor and leads him in a way that is not good. Winking with his eyes to plot perversities, moving his lips, he shall bring about evil. Gray hair is a crown of adoring, it is found in the way of righteousness. He who is patient is better than the mighty, and he who rules over his spirit than he who takes a city. The lot is cast into the lap, but every decision by it is from Yahweh. Mark 16, page 979. Yeshua has been pierced up on a stake. Joseph, not his father, a businessman, asked Pilate for the body so they can put him in so they can bury him. Mary and Magdalene and Joseph and Yeshua's mom are there. Mark 16, 979. And when the Sabbath was past, Miriam from Magdalene and Miriam the mother of Jacob and Salome bought spices to go and anoint him. And very early on day 1 of the week, they came to the tomb when the sun had risen. And they said among themselves, who shall roll away the stone from the entrance for the tomb for us? And looking up, they saw that the stone had already been rolled away, for it was extremely large. And having entered into the tomb, they saw a young man sitting on the right, wearing a white robe, and they were greatly astonished. And he said to them, do not be much astonished. You seek Yeshua of Nazareth, who was impaled. He was risen. He is not here. See the place where they laid him? And they said, go, say to his taught ones, and Peter, and that he is going before you into Galilee. You shall see him there, as he said to you. And they went out and fled from the tomb, and were trembling and bewildered. And they spoke to no one, for they were afraid. And having risen early on the first day of the week, he appeared first to Miriam from Magdala, from whom he did cast out several demons. She went and reported to those who had been with him, mourning and weeping. And when they heard that he was alive and had been seen by her, but they did not believe. And after this he appeared in another form to two of them who, as they walked and went into a field. And they went and reported it to the rest, but they did not believe them either. Later he appeared to the 11 as they sat at the table, and he reproached their unbelief and hardness of heart, because they did not believe those who had seen him after he was risen. And he said to them, go into all the world and proclaim the good news to every creature. He who has believed and has been immersed shall be saved, but he who has not believed shall be condemned. And these signs shall accompany the ones who believe. In my name they shall cast out demons. They shall speak with renewed tongues. They shall take up snakes. And if they drink any deadly drink, it shall by no means hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall get well. Then indeed, after the Master had spoken to them, he was received up into the heaven and sat down at the right hand of Elohim. And they went out and proclaimed to it everywhere, while Master worked with them and confirmed the word through the accompanying signs. Amen. Thank you for this. Thank you for listening. Shalom. Make it a great day. Read your Bible.